Hey, so this has been on my mind a lot lately, namely the fact that I think, as a game developer, as someone who has played games for like 25 years in my 30-year-old life, um, I think that iron sights as a gameplay mechanic, not necessarily the act of taking aim, right? The act of taking aim to increase your accuracy in games, I think that's fine. But the idea of iron sights while you're taking aim is a bad gameplay mechanic, and I'll illustrate this by simply taking aim at the camera, and you'll see exactly what I mean. So when I take aim, right, I still keep my both eyes open. I use my other eye to look at the thing that I'm aiming at while I'm using my dominant eye to line up the iron sights. And this way, I can actually see what's going on around the area that my dominant eye, the one I'm lining up iron sights with, is blocking. In games, you're basically one-eyed. You always have one eye shut when you take aim, and it brings up the iron sights to the center of the screen. This blocks everything that you see around the weapon, which is not realistic at all. Which is ironic because iron sights were added for the sake of realism. So I think the way that iron sights were, or aiming in general, has been done in games previously, so in games like Fallout 3 and earlier, is when you would take aim, the weapon would be offset like this, right? So if this is like the non-aiming position, this is what it would be like when you're taking aim. And this is actually way more realistic than just smacking it right in the middle, because when you smack it right in the middle with only one eye, you can't see shit. The only time realistically when you would keep one eye open is when you would take aim through a telescopic sight, basically, right? If you're aiming through a reflex sight, you keep both eyes open anyway, since you're basically just using one eye to line up the dot, and you're using the other eye to look at where you want to, fire at. So for that reason, reflex sights in games always make aiming easier, because they are more representative of what aiming would be like in real life, simply because the sight is like transparent, right? And it's not blocking anything right underneath it. So that's why I believe iron sights as a gameplay mechanic is bad game design, and I wish games dropped it, because like the immersion aspect of it is only fun if you're like 18 years old. But when you are playing an eternally one-eyed person, it gets stale real fast. And having played Counter-Strike recently, I realized just how shit really iron sights as a gameplay mechanic is. Taking aim is fine, just the iron sights part is really shit, and I wish games stopped doing that. But oh no, all the zoomies will not be as immersed anymore. That's terrible.